All right. So walk us through how your management style leads to the book, The Dream Machine.
Yeah. I work with the total volunteer army, right? So in other words, everybody's an independent contractor. They could quit tomorrow without any notice. And that's the world I've lived in for my entire, adult life. And so I constantly operate from this, everybody is temporary. And I think that that's really served me as a manager. But I also look at that, I've talked about this before, but I also look at that with my relationship. My wife and I have talked about this, that, we aren't the couple that's like, hey, we're married, so that's it. If it's not good and it's irreparable at some point, then we'll talk about alternative solutions. But the way that I look at it is, she's temporarily my wife, so I better keep courting her. I better keep, upping my game, keep dating her to make sure that that's a thriving, great relationship. And that's also how I look at work, where it's, hey, if I want to keep this person, and if I like them, I'd rather have them be here for a very long time than cycle somebody else through that situation. So for me, the dreams aspect comes into like, well, what has kept me at this organization for a really long time? It's been the freedom, the autonomy, and the financial success to be able to do the things that I want to do that are going to get me excited.
You mean your dream at 15 was not to wake up every day and sell knives?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I didn't have some burning desire in school to be like, it would be great, just some job with knives. No, I wasn't the weird kid, with some knife infatuation at a young age.
I wanted to be the best in the world to explain the difference between a steak knife and a paring knife. That's what I was thinking at 14.
So and I get this opportunity to work with a ton of 18 to 22-year-olds, and I can't tell you how stressful it is for them to feel like they have to figure out what they're going to do with their life. They're told this before they get to college, right? You got to select the right college, and then you have to pick your major. Picking your major at 18 years old is the biggest crock I've ever heard. You don't know what you want to do. You don't even know what you like at that point.
Right.
And so, what I love about the dreams thing is it changes the focus from like, you need to find a work that is your passion, to say you can pursue your passions, just figure out something that can fuel that, give you the flexibility, the autonomy, and the finances to be, and maybe the culture of growth that then can allow you to go out and pursue. And odds are, if you pursue enough of your passions personally, you're going to find a work passion that lines up with it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny. You mentioned picking your major at 18. I've got a buddy of mine. He's a wildly successful realtor. And we were having this conversation because he's got kids that are teenagers that are about ready to go to college. And I was asking about college and stuff. He's like, dude, I got in the biggest fight with my parents when I went to college because they were like, you got to pick your major. Like, what track are you going to be on for law school? He's like, guys, I don't know what I want to do. You guys haven't even figured out I'm gay yet. And they were like, what? And he's like, yeah, just came out of the closet to you guys. You guys haven't figured out I'm gay, and you want me to plan the rest of my life. And it was so funny the way he tells the story. I'm butchering the story, but he's like, my parents just dropped their jaw, and they're like, okay, we'll talk about your major later.
Yeah, right.
little different. But so it's funny because I'll interview people frequently and trying to figure out if they're a long-time solution or if I'm going to train them and they're going to move on. I'll ask them like, hey, what's your 3 to 5 year plan? And the deer in the headlights looks that I get are like, usually because they know they're applying for a mortgage job, they'll be like, well, I'd like to buy a house. I'm like, all right, cool. That's something you want to obtain. But like, what's the plan? And we went through the dream machine exercise with our team. And I was shocked that one of the girls that works for me, one of her dreams is to go to this bookstore called The Last Bookstore in downtown LA. You've probably seen it on Instagram. It looks like something out of Harry Potter. There's like arches of books and stuff. And I'm like, Danielle, take Monday off. Here's $100. Go to the books. It's literally awesome. 12 miles away. And she's like, no, I want to go with this group of friends, and I'm waiting till the COVID restrictions are off because I don't want to take pictures down there with a mask on. I'm like, all right, the day the mask mandate is over, you're taking the day off. Here's $200 for you and your friends to go buy some old books. And it's just crazy how few people ask and how few people know and how fewer people even ask their team, like, what's your dream? What are some things you want to accomplish? So how did this start to naturally work its way into like your management style?
So by the way, kudos to you for doing that right away. Cause there's so much low hanging fruit when you get into this and you start talking to your team about it. It's like, and even for them, it's like, Well, I guess this is on my list. I didn't even know about it, but it's, like you said, 12 miles down the road. I could have done this yesterday. I just haven't, right? Give myself the space, the time to do it. So for me, I was introduced to the concept by a guy named Matthew Kelly. He's an author and a speaker. Cutco brought him to a national conference in 2007. And so at that event, I made my first list of 100 dreams right at the event. And I remember it, being on fire, like, oh, this is awesome. And then I went home, looked at it maybe once or twice more, and then that was it. And we didn't do anything with it. And then 2012 came around. Back then you have your external hard drive,
Yeah.
right? And so I was transitioning computers, and I also was getting moved or given the opportunity to have a larger territory. So I was basically moving and starting a team from scratch again. So this is my third time. And so I was trying to be more intentional about what kind of culture did I want to build. And I was going back through all my old notes, all my old material, and I stumbled on the dream stuff. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want my team to be centered around, like, we're people that pursue our dreams. And I was thinking, for me, what would keep me here for another decade, excited and engaged, and not just kind of going through the motions. And that was something for me that, I've always lived by the leadership principle of living out loud. So in other words, I knew that for this to work, I had to be kind of the example of it. So my then girlfriend, now wife, Brooklyn, and I at the time, we kind of dove into this. We made our lists. We planned out our next year, which was 2013. And then we just started living it out loud. And that the first couple of years of this, I basically just helped people make their list, and that was it. But we got a lot of legs from that, where people were talking about their dreams. We had little boards in the office. People could put, call it a vision board or whatever, where they could put their next up on there. And then in 2016, 2017, we started doing retreats within our team. And so we would give people a lot of space. They'd create their list. It usually be about 200 to 300 on their list. And then they'd share it. And that's where we ended. But that started getting really tight bonds within the team, because now they're sharing their dreams publicly. And then the last iteration was in 2018, where that exact same retreat, we added a third leg to it, which was like the planning section. And that's where things really took off. And so it's basically just, hey, what are your dreams? What do you want to accomplish in your life? It's a living document. You keep editing it. You share it with some people, you steal some. And then the third piece is, okay, what are some things I can act on right now? And we found that this is just like anything else. It's that first domino, right? Where it's like, once somebody does one dream, they report back, even though it's not their job. Hey, I get a text. Thank you so much. I just accomplished a dream on my list. I share that with everybody else. That's a friendly nudge to somebody who hasn't taken action of like, I got to get back to my list. And so that's where it's been. We do these now once to twice a year within our team. And it's awesome. I've got these like unbelievable dreamers on my team that would definitely not be on my team. They would have left to go do something else. But this job is giving them the opportunity and the platform to like help them live the life of their dreams. My top guy, he's 21 years old. He turns 22 on February 1st. And he last year accomplished 74 dreams on his list.